about to connect with people who are ready to bring you the most open, honest, and revealing life stories. Welcome to Journey TV. This segment is brought to you by 7 C's. 7 C's, building health naturally.
Hello and welcome to Journey TV. No, you did not blink wrong. You are watching the right show. But today we've got something special for you. My name is Anastarcia Palacious and I am guest hosting Journey TV today because the woman that came up with this concept has been on a journey of her own. And we wanted to make sure that you got the chance to learn her story, hear her story, and see how that story can impact you and change and transform your lives the same way she helps to tell everybody else's story. Of course, I'm talking about the fabulous Earlene Camielle, and today she's going to be sharing with us. Earlene, welcome to your own show.
Wow. This is great. I have like chills all over my body. Like, wow. Thank you so much for the lovely welcome.
Yes, I mean, thank you for having me in this beautiful space that you've created and to allow me to sit in the chair for you when you've been sitting in this chair and just bringing forward so many stories in the hopes of healing so many people that get to watch this show. And today we get to heal with you. How does it feel?
It's surreal, actually. It's surreal. I know I'm here, right? But yeah, and it's a pleasure to actually have you doing this. So
thank you.
Yeah, I feel like we're making history together.
We are two women in Bahamian show business, but with the power to impact and transform the world.
Amen.
And I know that that's what Journey TV has been about. The stories that you shared in this sacred space have really done something in our communities where they're viewed.
Wow.
And today we get to talk to you because without the story you're about to share, there would be no Journey TV. Right? There would be no footprints, there would be no opportunities for people to come into a space and say, this is my truth. But we're going to learn more about your truth. So the first thing I want to ask you, kind of hopefully a lighter weight question, is who was Earlene Camielle as a child?
Wow. I guess I was creative. I was artistic as a child, but based on some of the things that happened, as I got older, that creativity was, I guess, pulled back in, and I've evolved, and now I'm bringing it back out. But as a child, I had, a wide imagination. I, again, was creative. The same way, a lot of us would play school and, be in the yard and play, with our cousins, church, and, so I had a good childhood once I was around friends and my younger cousins and,
So there were some good moments there.
Yeah, there were some good moments.
But as you kind of reflect now that you've been on this journey, you can see where some of the darker moments kind of pulled away from that light, kind of pulled away from that creative space. And it's in the freeing and telling of your story and confession of your story that you've been able to bring that creativity back.
Yes.
Yes, that's awesome. And so I hope that people watching will pay attention to that because sharing of our truth frees us.
It definitely does.
That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, you were very distinctive in your message just now. You said, when you were with friends and sometimes with younger cousins, you were a lot happier, a lot freer. That younger cousins thing, that means something to you. What would happen in the space or presence of maybe older cousins or older family members?
So I guess a lot of guardians or people who would have been in my space who should have been more protective, they didn't have the tools to do that. That's what I sum it up as. And we are here to talk about something that was, changed the way I saw the world, which was sexual abuse. And you did mention, what happened around older cousins and it was an older cousin that actually did that. So I did not feel safe around I didn't have that safety net. I didn't have that safety net.
And this is, I'm going to pause as we kind of go through this because there are people watching this who this is going to be very hard for emotionally. And if I do tear up, it's because I'm just so empathetic toward this cause. And I know that there are so many people who struggle with this, especially at the hands of family members. In the space where the abuse started, and I just want to kind of walk us through this because I want parents who might be watching, guardians who might be watching, to have the tools that your guardians might not have had, to know that they should be looking out for certain things. Did this abuse happen in a space where other people would have been around? How did the engagement or the luring you in as a child take place?
Well, it was actually a one-time incident, but it was all the way. It wasn't molestation. It was actual,
rape.
Yes. and I was over, I guess, an adult in our family was babysitting me and my twin brother.
Right.
And it was their son.
Okay.
It was their son.
Okay.
And he was about 16.
Wow.
He
And
was
you
about
were
16.
how old?
I was 5 years old.
No, Earlene.
Mm-hmm.
Did you tell anyone?
So, well, my brother was there to witness it, and I can't remember telling anyone,
Okay.
but people knew.
Okay.
People knew. It was known in the family that this happened to me. So I don't remember telling anyone. I don't know if it was me that told, or I don't know if it was my twin brother that told, but someone said, because it was referenced throughout the years.
It was referenced throughout the years. And I want to be gentle with you, because I cannot imagine that this is an easy story to tell. I cannot imagine that for a 5-year-old who should just be enjoying butterflies and the color pink, that this could be easy. The fact that it was referenced throughout the years, has anybody ever come to you directly to say, Earlene, how did you feel about this? Earlene, how could I comfort you? Earlene, how could I make this in any way better? Did you ever get that kind of support?
We don't talk about these things in our society, Star. And when I say we, adults don't talk about these things. We act like it doesn't happen, and that's the worst thing we can do, because it allows the person who is doing it to do it to someone else.
Right.
And that is what happened. I heard of other incidents, so that is what happened. So no, that never happened. I will say that I think that we tell our stories when we find our own freedom in them. And I realized that it was an awful situation. You know, it was a tragedy. However, I have been able to forgive the person that did it, forgive the adults in my life who should have protected me. They didn't even know how I felt. In fact, I was more angry at them than the person that did it, because they were supposed to protect me.
Right.
So I've been able to forgive them, and I've been able to accept the fact that, okay, I know God knows all things. He is in control of all things, but there's some bad people that step out of line, you know, from what God intends for us to do, and He gives all of us options. So I recognize that it was the actions of that particular person that did that. But again, I was able to forgive them, and I think that it's tied into my purpose. I think that it's tied, not that it was supposed to happen, however, it did happen because someone took it upon themselves to make a bad decision. But I've turned it completely around, and now I'm able to connect with people. When I sit here, I'm able to connect with people because of the things that has happened to me. I'm able to have compassion towards people. I'm able to reach people and pour my light into them and bring light out of them in a way that I would not have been able to if certain things did not happen to me. So I have found freedom in those experiences.
Earlene, that is incredibly powerful, and I think incredibly grace-filled and gracious. And you talk about God being in the midst of that space, and I know that He has to be in order for you to speak about the type of healing and forgiveness that you're saying. I want to get into that some more, because I think people need to understand that process. Many of us are walking around burdened by the things that happened to us in childhood, and we've not been able to let go. We certainly have not been able to forgive anybody for anything, and we're very angry, and that anger comes out in different ways. So I want to go back into that, talk some more about that healing process, but we do have to take a quick commercial.
Yeah, we do.
So we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and talk some more. But right now, just know that I'm sitting here in awe of your strength and beauty.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more Journey TV in just a minute. Welcome back to Journey TV, and thank you so much for staying with us. If you are just joining us, no, you did not blink incorrectly. My name is Anastarcia Palacious, and today I am filling in for your phenomenal host, Earlene Camielle, because we're actually talking to her about her story and the journey that led her to Journey TV. It's not been an easy road, certainly a very sad one. We did learn previously that Earlene was raped by a cousin at only age 5. And that has been a very, very heavy conversation to have. But Earlene has brought us into her life by talking about the fact that she has forgiven the individual that did that to her, and even more importantly, the adults in the situation that knew about it and did nothing. And Earlene, I'm coming back to you now because I need to understand what went into this forgiveness, because I cannot imagine having been physically broken. That's what it was at 5. Having had family members whisper about this knowingly. Going through all of this, growing through all of this, having daughters of your own, and then turning around and saying to not just this man who took away your innocence, but to the family that let it happen, it's okay. I still love you all. I forgive you. That is the meaning of powerful. What led to that forgiveness for you?
I can only say it's my faith-driven, I guess, journey with God. That's the only thing I can equate it to. That is the only thing I can equate it to, because me as the individual, I probably still would have been, so protective. When I think about me as a teenager, I'm a completely different person.
Okay.
I would be okay with like the people I was comfortable with, but everyone else, if I was in a social setting, I wouldn't interact with anybody else. I was very protective of myself. Not that I was mean or anything, but I would probably be the one that you like, well, what our problem is, without me even having to say anything, I'm distant, you know?
You're sheltered and you've drawn yourself in because you need to protect yourself. That's what it is.
Right.
And so we see people sometimes, what we perceive as an attitude or something that we can't understand, not knowing that behind this mask, this protection, because that's what it is, you're just trying to keep yourself from being hurt again.
Right. So that evolved into, me becoming a young adult, and I think I was still protective of myself. I guess maybe having, and it's clicking now, maybe having kids, because I had kids young. I'm divorced now, but I got married young. So maybe having children made me see things in a different light. But I have to give credit to God for it. That's the only thing that makes sense, because as I got closer to Him, I was able to dig internally and see the things that I wanted for my life. And even though I've always been, very responsible, a high achiever, internally there still wasn't that fulfillment and that happiness, and still you're protecting yourself when one thing goes wrong. If one person does something to you, you feel like the whole world is against you. That's what came out of that situation for me. And I just wanted better. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to feel happy. So just with drawing closer to God, that's the only explanation.
And so many things you said that I just want to know more about, right? The first thing, and because I still want to kind of wrap up the forgiveness part before I get into some more stuff, but what led to the drawing to God? Was that over a period of time? Was there a certain experience or a moment that made you say, God, I just want more of you? What led to that kind of Christian journey?
He was always with me.
Always with you.
He's always been with me. There's actually, and this is going off topic a little bit, there's a story where I almost drowned when I was about 8. And it was deep water. I ended up being in the water, and the current was pulling me out, and I was like, every time I came up, I saw my cousins like looking at me, screaming, like, and I'm looking at them like, y'all come and get me, but no one could swim. So my sister literally had to run across a yard to get to another yard to get someone to jump in to get me. By that time I was all the way out, because it was where Basra is now. So the current was pulling me out. But the way they describe it is every time I came out of the water, my hands was lifted up. So I was struggling to get up. I only remember like the first 2 times coming up and down. So I take those hands being up as me just always being a fighter, me always looking up. And naturally that's just always what happened. I don't have any explanation for it. But God has never left me.
Really, I mean, your ability to still, and I really want you guys to see this, because this is what is powerful. This is what grace is. This is how you know that our faith is more than just a story, that it's a real experience. Because for you to go through that at 5, for you to almost lose your life at 8, and to still believe in this loving God. Like, that is a powerful thing. And I know, because I have actually a shared experience with almost drowning, but I am just so impressed to see you share that and the way that you say it, and to know that God was with you even in the depths, right? And hearing you talk about that, we look for other people for our rescue. Can you come and help me? But sometimes it's just your own innate ability to keep pushing above the surface to get to the next space. When you think about your own family and the fact that this happened in a family, and I come back to that because your story, unfortunately, you're not the only one. And I know people that this has happened to, people who have had uncles, cousins abuse them. The family knows, nothing happens, and there's a rupture there. There's a break in the trust and in the love that should exist. When you think about your own family, do you wish that some things might have happened differently, or is there advice that you want to give families that may be going through this now, ways that they could make the victim of, in this instance, because you've become a victor, but you were a victim, and we should acknowledge that, make them feel safer, make them feel like what happened to them was real? Any advice that you would want to give families?
Definitely. Family members, definitely. I need to talk to them. Again, you have to pay attention to your kids. Like, it is our duty to protect our angels. It is absolutely our duty. And know where your kids are.
Okay.
Know who you are taking them to. And if you see they say, I don't want to go back there, don't even question. You can question them, and if they say, I just don't want to go back, don't take them back.
Okay.
There's a reason they are saying that.
Okay.
Just know who you have your kids around.
Right.
Talk to them about things, like talk to them about how they should be touched and how they should be spoken to, and assure them that no matter what happens, you can come to me and I will protect you, and you better live by that promise.
Right.
You back that promise up, because if you don't, then it gives other people the opportunity, because I know people this has happened to multiple times, you know?
Right.
And then some children may feel like they deserve it if it continues to happen.
Right.
So we just have to protect our children. And I also want to talk to abusers.
Yeah. Talk to them. Tell them. Let them know.
If you are struggling with being aroused by a child, admit it to yourself. Go and get help. I'm sure it won't be too hard to find someone else who is struggling with that issue as well, because it's prevalent in our society.
Right.
But what you are doing is wrong. It needs to stop.
Yeah.
And if you can't stop yourself, please go and get help.
Yeah. So we do want to encourage you, if this is something that you're struggling with. Donna Nichols in particular, I can think of her from the Crisis Center, has had some experience in helping people through this, and so I just want to put her name out there as someone that you can go to in confidence and say, this is my challenge, because we would rather you get the help than to be hurting another child. And then, is there anything that you want to say to maybe a little boy or girl who's watching this and feeling ashamed right now because it happened to them, and the feelings of shame that come with this, even though it's not your fault at all, are very real? What would you say to another child that's experiencing what you went through?
I want to talk to children and adults who have experienced this, because there's a lot of adults who have experienced this, and you don't actually want to admit that it happened to you. You haven't told anyone. You don't even want to call the person's name. I also want to speak to the children as well. But you didn't do anything. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so, children, we do want you to know that you're not alone. And right here you see a woman who has been through it and has come out of it. No situation will last always. And she's gonna come back and talk to you from her own space, but know that you always have support in people like us. There's always someone you can tell. And even if your family is not doing what they should do, there is an adult that you can reach out to that will help you.
Move with strength and energy. Drinking Ensure, you get vitamins, minerals, and up to 30 grams of high-quality protein. Your life, your health, your Ensure.
I'll speak to the adults first. Again, if this has happened to you at any point in your life, whether you were a child, a teenager, even an adult, no one deserves for this to happen to them. First, I want you to know that you did nothing wrong. and that it's the people who are around you. It's their responsibility to protect you, to make sure you have not been placed in this situation. But if you have, just know that there is support out there for you. There are examples to show you that you will move past this and you will be able to heal. To the children out there, God has charged angels over you. He has charged angels over you, and He will never leave you. And there are angels there protecting you and still with you, even though this bad person might have stepped out of God's will to do this bad thing to you. So I want you to tell who you can tell about it. And don't let anybody make you silence your voice. You tell everyone. And when I say tell everyone, first you tell the trusted person, the person that you can trust. And if they don't help you, when you go to school, you tell your teacher. If you have to pick up the phone yourself and dial 911 yourself, that's what you do. You keep telling, and don't let anybody threaten you. Don't let anybody make you feel like your voice can't be heard. Again, you did not deserve this to happen to you, so someone needs to step up and protect you and let your voice continue to be heard. And talk to your Heavenly Father. Continue to talk to Him. He is listening to you. And just know that you will always have support and people like me. If there are any adults out there that want to reach out to me, my social media handles on Instagram and Facebook, I'm Earlene Camielle. My email address is earlene@footprintsjourney.net. I would be more than happy to, just if there's anything that I can share that can help you feel supported, I'm more than happy to do that.
Well, we want to thank you so much, Earlene, for everything, for this space, Journey TV, that you've created, for coming through your journey yourself and emerging into this beautiful butterfly that is just spreading that love and light to everyone else. We're sorry that this has been your struggle, because it shouldn't have happened. And I hope that you know those words too, that you didn't deserve it, and that you are so much more than even this story, that this is just one part of life that happened, and that you're going to use now to just transform so many other lives. It has been a blessing to sit here and interview you, and to see God's grace in action, and to see beauty come from ashes in this story. And I know that there's so much more stories inside of you that we need to bring to the forefront. So whenever you need me, please feel free to call. But it has been a blessing to sit with you today, and I trust that lives will be transformed and continue to be transformed as you stand in your truth and share that. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for your example, everything that you were doing out in our community, and thank you for your support, because you didn't even blink an eye. You said, I will be there. Yes, it would be my pleasure to do this.
Definitely.
So thank you so much. I appreciate you, Star.
Thank you. So you've been watching Journey TV. Remember, the journey doesn't end here. Continue to follow Earlene Camielle. You can do so on Instagram and Facebook. And remember that you can also check out the Footprints blog for more stories like this and others. Remember that you are powerful, that no matter what happens to you, there is always more greater ahead of you than anything that is behind you, and you can continue on your own journey as well. I'm Anastarcia Palacious, and it has been a pleasure to be your guest host on Journey TV.
All of our guests have released exclusive life stories on Footprints blog. Log on to www.footprintsjourney.net to learn more and to continue to follow their journeys of survival, resiliency, and strength. Follow at Footprints on Facebook and on Instagram at Footprints Journey. Contact us at joinus@footprintsjourney.net if you have an inspirational life story to share.
We want you
to journey with us.
Footprints!
We share our stories because
There is power in every story.
there is hope in every story.
There's healing
in every story.
Our stories will inspire you.
They will change you.
They will empower you.
Because there is freedom in every story.
Join me, Earlene Camielle, and my guests
Every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for powerful, revealing, life-changing stories. Journey TV, we share life's truths.